Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This video is intended to kind of share some of the things that we've learned over the years of how we unwinterize our RV. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we use a wand to clean the scale out of the water heater storage tank. Get all that scale out. Then we'll fill our water heater. We'll then put water back into all the lines in the RV itself, making sure that we've got all the air out of the lines. Next step will be to sanitize, and when we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to add some chlorine bleach, put that in our freshwater tank, and then pump that solution back into the lines inside the RV where we'll let it sit for a day or two. We'll also make sure that we've got water running into our residential refrigerator for the ice maker. And the last thing we'll do is we'll check to make sure that our water heater is actually functioning. We'll turn the electric on and then go out and listen next to the water heater to make sure that you can sort of hear some popping noise that indicates that that water heater electric is working. Then we'll switch the gas to heat the water heater and make sure that, again, it's working properly. And last but not least, we'll check to make sure we don't have leaks. So first step, we're going to use this tool right here to blow out the stuff that's in the hot water heater. A lot of lime and stuff like that builds up in there. Having sat over the winter time now with it dried out, I'm thinking that there's a fair amount. I can reach my finger in and feel that there's a fair amount of debris that's just inside down here. So we got our water line hooked up, and this little tool is it just puts a lot of pressure out of the hose, and so we're going to take it and put it in here and turn it on, and eventually what's going to happen is the water is going to come back blowing out of here. And some of those solids that are in there, you can see them. If you look closely, you can see them running down the It's kind of important to get this stuff out, because what will happen is it will get into the aeration strainers. If you look right down here, you can see some of those pieces moving around on the concrete. So I'm going to do this a couple of times just to kind of make sure it kind of clears the whole thing out, and then we'll proceed to the next step. All right, just again, quick, you can see all of the sort of, it's really salt, you know, sort of an accumulation of calcium that's up inside there, and it dissolves pretty easy if you. And a lot of this just depends on where you go. So next thing we're going to do is I've retaped this anode rod. May need to be replaced probably fairly soon. Really not, I've seen them a lot worse. I've put some thread tape on here. We're going to feed it back in to the, so it's a 1 1/16 inch socket that fits this standard anode rod. And you want to put it in there and then get it tight. It is it can be tricky. Try not to cross thread it. But you want to get it in there so it's good and tight, so that when you pressurize this, that it doesn't leak out of the bottom of it. Okay, so some very important pieces here. Number one, water heater bypass has to be off at this point, because we're going to fill our water heater. And the second thing we want to do is we want to make sure winterize is off, because what that does is it pulls water out of this inlet as opposed to the city water connection. So we're off on winterize, we're off on water heater bypass. I'm going to leave the tank power fill to normal flow, because I want the water to go into the trailer. So again, one more time, water heater bypass off, winterize off, tank fill power fresh to normal flow to fill the coach up. And we're going to start doing this, and the very first thing I'm going to do to fill this up is I'm going to open this relief valve, because what that's going to allow is all the air to go out. It'll fill up the tank. When the tank gets full, the water will start coming out right here, and we'll close this valve, and then we'll be able to go inside and start running water inside the trailer. You also want to make sure that your two low water point drains are off. Go inside and make sure that nothing's on, no sink or anything is on. The other thing that I got to do is I've got to slide underneath here. I've got a cap right here in my hand, and if you look straight ahead, you'll see that there's a drain point over there. That's for the ice maker on this RV. Ice maker line runs right here. It's this white line, runs around. It's the blue line there. That blue line, the low point water point for that is right over there, and there's a valve under the sink that I have to turn on as well. So I'm going to go ahead while this is filling up, slide underneath here, put this drain plug on, and then by the time I get back out, hopefully the water will start to be running out of the hot water tank. And here comes our water out of the tank. So I'm going to close that, and so now we know our water tank's full. Now we can run inside, and we'll run water to all of the lines. All right, since we don't want to get water in the gray tank, I usually start with the faucet that's the farthest away. We did not put pink stuff in this year. We blew lines down, we drained everything, and then used the air compressor to blow out the water. So rather than put this gallon or so of water into our gray tank, I'm just trying to get the water running, and we're just going to toss it out in the yard. So now I'm switching over and doing the hot side. So again, we got some water in the line, so I'm not just spit it everywhere. Okay, and again, this is the longest line from where the water comes into the RV. Now we're going to go down underneath the sink, and I'm going to switch on the valve. So right here is our valve that controls our ice maker. So I just turned it on. You can hear it go whoosh. So again, we blew all this out. So now Peggy's going to let the air, so you can hear the water running. Stop now and go just pour that out, and then we'll do another cup full. Yeah, so our filter's right here. We had taken the filter out, drained it thoroughly, and then just reinstalled it. A couple of cups of water here. That'll get that water. It doesn't look like we've got any issues with leaks. Hopefully you never have that issue, but it's just one of those things you got to check on. Okay, that's good. All right, next to the bathroom, I'm going to do the bathroom sink. And the hot side. All right, so that's all done. Not going to try to catch the black tank. What we are going to do is just run a little water here though in the toilet. You can see we did put some pink stuff in the toilet, and we also put some pink stuff in each of the P-traps back in the winter, just to make sure that we didn't have anything that was left in here residually would not freeze, be taken care of. All right, so we got that done. Probably still some air in the hot water line. With this single control, there's no way to get the water turned on full blast without getting everything. So I think we're pretty good here in terms of no leaks, most of the air out of the system. We still got a little cleanup that's got to be done with regard to the pink stuff that's still in here in some of the P-trap areas, but we got some down there as well, but we'll get that cleaned. So we have the washer dryer connection as well. Because this is just going to have air in it at this point, I'm not going to worry about it until we get out on the road. Once we get out on the road and I know I can dump my tanks, we'll hook a hose up to that and just run it so that we know that we've got any bacteria, anything that might be lurking in that part of the line. Looking underneath the RV, don't see anything. There's the plug that I put back on a few minutes ago so we could get our water to the ice maker, and that seemed to be in good shape. The next item of business is I'm going to switch it over to from normal flow to fill, and this is going to put some water into my storage tank. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on, and we're going to come back here to the back, and you'll see that this valve is open, and so we're going to let a little bit of water run out of this before I close it, just to make sure that we clear any dirt or anything that might be in the way and underneath here. All right, we got a good stream coming out of there now, so I'm going to go ahead and close it off. All right, and so the good news is no leaks that we see right there either. And so we're going to run a little bit of water into the fresh water tank, and then we're going to add some chlorine to it. So that's our next step here, is get a couple of 3 gallons in there. We're going to add a little chlorine. We'll run it up to about 1/3 of a tank. We're going to leave that chlorine in there and pump it up through the house so that we get a little bit of chlorine into the lines. How do you get Clorox? In this case, we're just going to use regular old Clorox into your system if you don't have a place where you can just pour it in. And what we've discovered is that you can just measure the amount that you want to put in a measuring cup. You can gently pour it in right here. It'll fill this tube up with the Clorox, and then we can put it all back together and turn the water back on when we get completed. You don't need very much. You don't want to poison yourself in this process. So what we're going to do is we're going to put about a little over 1/4 of a cup in the, and now we're going to turn the water back on. If you listen carefully, you can hear the water running right there. So we got it running in right now. We're just going to let it run for about 5 minutes, a little bit less than that maybe, and then we'll cut it off. We'll go inside and we'll run the water pump to pump water from the tank that now has this little bit of chlorine bleach in it back into the lines. We'll let them sit. In our case, we're going to let them sit for several days in the lines, and then we'll be able to clean all that out in just a few days as we get ready to head on our next trip. Okay, so we're back inside. We've got right at 1/3 of a tank in our freshwater tank. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the water pump. And so it's on now. And Peggy's going to go ahead and just run, now sucking a little bit of that water mixture. We're going to go ahead and switch over to hot now. Again, just to try to suck a little bit of that water mixture in. And the pump sounding like now it's running like normally, so we've gotten good water into the pump. We'll go up in the, I'm not going to worry about the ice maker at this point. Yeah, we always throw out our first 2 or 3 batches of ice. And so, okay, so we're going to do cold here, just a little bit. Okay. And we'll do some hot here as well. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go turn the gas on, make sure that the hot water heater is going to work on gas, and also we'll turn on the electric as well to test it. In fact, we'll go ahead and turn the electric on right now. Just want to make sure that I can hear it heating up a little bit. I'm not going to try to heat up that whole tank of water at this point, but we're just going to make sure that we hear it running, and then we'll get the gas going as well. So we check, make sure the gas is on, and we've got good gas here as well. So I want to make sure I caught this part. So when I came back in, the fault light was off. I've since turned both the gas and the electric off, but the fault light had gone out when I came back in. And finally, when we're all done, we'll just go back and check all of our connections to make sure that we don't see water leaking anywhere in the RV as a result of having sat over the winter time. Thanks again for watching. Hope you found the information that was presented in the video helpful to you. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.